Alright, today I'm trying to get a whole bunch of stuff put together here. I basically cleared out some brush today and threw it on my neighbor's burn pile because he's looking for ridiculously dry stuff to get his tree stump started. Then I took a box of stuff down to the end of the driveway and marked it free. VCR tapes, empty DVD cases, actual VCR and DVDs inside some of the cases with the covers, some books and clothes, and it seems like a lot of stuff, but really it just made barely even a dent in here. And I don't know, I had a really good time at the Goodwill bin store. I might have to go back and we'll see. Got a couple things in the mail. One of them was this card here. The marking is impossible to see here, but I started doing a postcard project again for places that start with Z. This is the Zenda post office. I'll have to mark down which state it was. I don't remember if it was Montana or Idaho or Wisconsin, where it was, but Zenda post office. So I thought that's really cool there. People still don't understand why I'm doing it. I'm only doing it for the enjoyment of it. I'm not doing it for money. I'm not doing it for anything. And one person, I don't know, one or two people have asked me, you know, what's wrong with me or something like that, or why are you feeling this way? It's really not polite in this day and age to ask people what's technically wrong with them, because you've got politics, you've got new popes, you got, you know, people have been sick, just, you know, general flu and bugs going around. And then you've got, you know, other people that have had, you know, other things that, you know, just because something happened 4 years ago doesn't mean that you're over it, you know. And so people are trying to ascertain, you know, what makes a person, you know, the way they are. And that's how YouTube and social media are. They're wondering why people do things, you know, why'd you buy these cards? Somebody said in the comments, I was wondering why Chris Taylor was still a Dodger. Now, you know, it's all about the home runs and the bombs and the big, you know, power hitting. I know Ichiro is not necessarily always a power hitter. I would say Ichiro, but you know what I mean. Shohei Ohtani, you know, and then Mike Trout's coming up back again. So, again, sometimes people, rhyme or reason, you know, people are wondering why Trout is still on the Angels, you know, maybe had a crazy contract that will never end. But this person pointed me to two videos, which I have seen because they were the Dodger playoffs or whatever, you know, back whatever, and just because Chris Taylor made some amazing plays once or twice. But again, longevity is not always, you know, people are a Dodger for a minute. Kike Hernandez, okay, he was a Dodger, and he disappeared from the Dodgers. I was like, well, that was dumb. Why did he go? Then he came back, and everybody said, well, we shouldn't have let him go, and he was awesome, you know. So there's just, you know, one person's opinion is not necessarily my opinion, but they had basically tried to best me by showing videos. It's like, well, this is why Chris Taylor has not left the Dodgers. And I said, I understand that. I've been a Dodgers fan since the late 70s, you know, so I should know a thing or two. I didn't say it exactly like that way, but it was just kind of funny. Somebody was trying to point out, you know, well, you know, again, everybody wants to be better than the next person, you know. Like I said, people are already complaining about the Pope. People are asking, you know, this and that and sort of thing. And I said, you know what, whether you agree with the Pope or it's an important position, regardless of where a person is at, you know. It's like if we wiped out, you know, FEMA or NATO or something like that, you know, or wiped out, you know, our trade partners or anything. These are all important people there. We can't operate on ourselves as, like, you know, be selfish. You know, I have to rely on global products from all over the world, regardless if I'm the same, you know, religion or the same, you know, beliefs as these other countries. So, again, just like collecting cards or anything, you know, stuff that you're selling or whatever, somebody will go up to your table and say, wow, this is a great deal. They'll buy out half your table. And other people say, this is all garbage. Why do you even bother selling it? And that's just how that is. But I was really happy with the stuff that I found yesterday. So I'll show you some of those things here. I'll try to get all the birds with one stone. In one of the last videos, I showed these Italian cards here. Football/soccer. Again, I get in trouble if I say soccer, and I get in trouble if I say football. So again, these cost me a fair bit amount of money. You see basically $1 worth of cards there, and I paid $17. So that's my right to do that, and I was happy to do that. And now I don't have to worry about it anymore. So yesterday was pretty good. Interestingly enough, the Goodwill bin store Gotta get this nagging cough out of here. There was tons of stuff that came from somebody's antique booth. And a lot of this antique booth stuff I averaged, between $2 and $5 each, but they were asking between $15 and $25 each. And that's why they failed. In this day and age, you just don't basically comp everything on eBay. So this Steve Urkel puzzle here, which actually turns out it was complete. Did I do that? I will not do the snort. There's that sort of thing. Did I do that? Did I do that? Did I do that? Did I do that? Well, anyway, that's all I'm gonna do. Anyway, the tag was super funny. They had counted over 100 pieces in it, and so they didn't even test the puzzle, but they wanted $20 for this. Now I went to eBay, and this puzzle is $10. Plus shipping, so it's not even it's not even $20. But I think they comped it off of eBay. And the funny thing that they counted over 100 pieces is because there were pieces that belonged to other puzzles in there, but it was complete. And whenever they had their antique booth, it got really dirty and gross. So that actually it was sitting in storage. The box got damaged in storage. There's number 159 on there. I might be able to clean that off with a dry erase marker there. And there's other things there. There was some other stuff that looked like Goodwill. They peeled off a Goodwill sticker and damaged the, something there. And then I picked this up. Doesn't have a ton of value, but it weighed very little. When do you find things from Shirt Tales? That's a Shirt Tales card game. That was a huge deal when I was a little kid. And I think I even ordered a Shirt Tales shirt or something like that and was super happy. Of course, I outgrew it very quickly, but that's neither here nor there. And then I'm on the nostalgia kick right now. I'm getting back to this stuff here. Nobody will remember Degrassi, but I do, because I only had about 12 channels at the most, maybe 5. And PBS, this was always on PBS as seen on public television. And WGBH Boston Videos where that came out with it. But what's crazy is that I don't remember what I paid for this or if I got it for a birthday or Christmas. Really don't remember. And there's another series from this one I have to go through, and I'm going through my DVDs and VCR tapes yet again. And one of these sets was like $50. Everything is $50. Vinyl records, DVD sets, but then when you look up MASH, it's only like $10, $5 or something to get a season of MASH. I would be able to find, series like that I would want to go to. I could take or leave MASH. I might be getting rid of those DVD sets soon. I have a friend that might want them, but I wanted to show you some records I got and some interesting shoes here. I have the other one here, a little bit of damage to it, but really in mint condition for a shoe so ancient. When in the world do you ever find shoes that are made in the United States? Never. 0, 0, 0. I mean, there are some companies that are US-made shoes, but these are Nikes, made in the United States of America. They don't fit me, but I bought them as a collector's item. I don't know if in the 70s or 80s, this one had a stamping there. I cannot read what that said there. And these were in the leftovers. Nobody had grabbed them. But when in the world do you ever find shoes that are Velcro and lace at the same time? And they have like this really wimpy plastic buckle here. I mean, that could have been broken for all these years. Relatively clean shoes. There's some water stains on them a little bit. And they're still bendy, but look at the flat shoeing on there. Really flat. These could be out of the 70s, because in the early 80s, they transferred from shoes from the United States to other countries, so these could be even from the 70s. And I found 0 comps on the internet, 0 of them. So I just thought it was really awesome to have like these probably 70s era Nikes just as a display. They look like a 8 or a 9. I don't remember what size. They're a little ripping in there, but again, just as a collector's item, one of the soles is peeling off a little bit here, but that's no biggie. Just throw a little bit of glue in there. And again, I've got a vintage pair of Nikes, which I don't have any clue what the value is. I could throw $20 on there and people will walk by and say, that's yuck. These are all yucky shoes. Or I could have them for $50. It just depends on where you sell them. Or I just might throw them in storage. And then I got a pair of these. These are Danner shoes. kind of an ugly back there, but these are 10.5s, which is technically my size. Very clean looking shoes here, but they're suede, unfortunately, so you can't clean that outside, so I'll have to do a soap and water and scrub all the rest of it and peel out the insides and run those through the wash, I guess. But these are like $179 shoes new. Craziness. And the soles are actually in really good condition. I mean, they're worn a little bit, but not so bad, so I figured give those a shot there. See how that works out there. And it was crazy because the shoes that I was looking at, the Nikes and the other ones, those shoes, nobody grabbed those. No one. So the shoe people were sort of there, but they sort of weren't there. I think they were looking this time for personal use. There were some people that had full carts of shoes. So the resellers there are that's just crazy land on that one. Now, I've been parceling out records, and the ones I couldn't sell last week, a lot of them are in my free box, because I much rather give them away for free than have to spend all afternoon trying to cajole somebody into a whole entire dollar. I'm happy if somebody takes something for free, and I probably should have done that. But anyway, I got 2 copies of Tom Miles' It's So Easy. Brand new factory sealed. These are looking like 15 bucks on Discogs, and then a little bit less not sealed. And then these are out of Portland, Oregon. He was some sort of country and rock, rock/country there, and I've got 2 of those. And the best thing that I got, now I have 3 copies of this. I got 2 more copies of the Rose City Blues Festival. Very, very happy to have the Rose City Blues Festival. I've got 3 copies of that, and they're all brand new factory sealed. According to eBay, I've got $150 worth of vinyl. According to Discogs, I have $30 worth of vinyl. And according to my customers, I probably have $3 worth of vinyl. And those people probably not, they probably look at it and said, oh, that's probably a calendar. Because a lot of times calendars and records are the exact same size, and they probably wouldn't even know it. But I would definitely want a label on there. But I want to make sure whatever label that goes on there does not damage the plastic, because that could take that to 0 value here. This one here must have slipped out of the thing here, and I sure hope it was in there. Oh yeah, it just slipped out of here. But this is Petra on Fire. I figure I'd give that one a shot. I haven't listened to it yet here. All Fired Up, Hit You Where You Live, Minefield, First Love, Defector. The people that were, looking at records are not record collectors, so they were not noticing some really pretty good things here. Just the casual collector. Things were disappearing pretty quickly, but the stuff that I really wanted was being thrown back. I'll show you a few other records here, and then we'll probably be done with this video here. Try to get everything in my order here. I mixed up a few things here. I got about 8 records here. I got this one, Jerusalem, live in USA, and there was a Goodwill sticker that was ripped off there and destroyed the thing, because somebody didn't know. It's one of those big squares that's like a Goodwill sticker there. So that theoretically could take this Jerusalem record there. It's metal rock or something like that. Somebody knew who they were, and I said, would you like to have that? It's like, no. But you don't see this very often. And we have another one here. No 666 there, and they're the Daniel Band, Run From the Darkness. Again, sometimes, people are, trying to be a little on the silly side at the store, and I said, hey, Daniel, this is the Daniel Band. And he's very funny, haha, and walks off like his whole world ended. But whatever. It's just, and I said, I was thinking of you, I was going to give you this, and no. And then I got, live, Eddie and Joe, and Eddie, somebody here, and well, that's Joe and Eddie. Let's see who these are. Let's see, Eddie Seals and Joe Grant. May not be familiar names to everyone, but here in Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, USA, Eddie and Joe stand out as being a great act that combined good music and comedy. And Boots Randolph thinks the world of them. That's why his facsimile signature on the back of it, and it's a sensational saxophonist, Boots Randolph. So interesting there. There was a Boots Randolph Yakety sax, I think, but it was completely destroyed. Somebody turned it into artwork there. Really weird thing there, but he's got the toilet guitar there, and the toilet paper hanging right off of that. It's pretty classic there. Somebody just liked it because he was missing his 2 front teeth. I said, well, why don't you do that? Oh, no. Yeah, some people are just don't have a sense of humor, but then I got called out for not having one. So, you know, I'm angry and bitter, but I have a sense of humor and they don't. And it's just funny. It works both ways, I guess, but I'm trying to be Mr. Positivity. You just can't make everybody happy. That's just really unfortunate. I have 2 COMCs on the way now because, you know, everybody is having a wonderful time showing what they already have, but they're also showing new pickups, new vintage, and that sort of thing. And I picked up $15 worth of commons, vintage commons, $15 worth. Paid $5.99 shipping on those, and I think it would have been triple that on eBay because I couldn't get all those cards from one vendor. Things were looking at $2 a piece, maybe $3 or $4 each in average and not so good condition, and I was able to pick out the condition I wanted. So I don't remember how many. I think I got 27 cards for $21.50, if that makes sense there. So that's quite a lot of cards there. I mean, you say, oh, 27 cards, that's not a big deal, but they're all 1960s era. Maybe I squeezed in a couple of 50s ones in there. And I was going to show you what I sort of picked up here if I can get to it here very quickly. Some inappropriate ads. There's a lot of inappropriate ads on YouTube here, and there's nothing I can do about it. If I could just go back to my dashboard here, and one of the things that I did yesterday is that I tried to load up my dashboard and it took forever. I accidentally bought the same card twice. I accidentally bought Bob Buell twice. I can't remember if I got it at the swap meet and then or whatever, but I tried to get to this here and it took forever. Hopefully this won't take long because we're almost out of time here, but I wanted to combine all my videos into one. I got one more RTS today, and I got 2 what else did I get? I got 3 last week, and I don't know. I'm just not getting any TTMs, so I'm really loath to send them out. I've got to get Woody Williams back out, and I got to get Larry Jaster out. I really didn't want to send out Larry Jaster, but I only had 1 card. See, again, it's taking forever. And I got a COMC error there, so that's ridiculous. Ridiculous there. So, unfortunate, the website is not always perfect, but same thing with eBay. I tried to buy stuff from eBay and do combined shipping, and then it just got so disheartening, I just have to quit, you know, and then I got reinvigorated by the swap meet, and that's why I purchased another COMC order. So that's really all I have today. I had a computer issue earlier, kind of a phone line connectivity thing, so I was going to go off to town and see if I can find some new cords, you know, maybe to eliminate the problem. But I think it might be okay. I haven't been able to test it, so I haven't been able to test it with a piece of paper, see if that's going to, the phone line is going to work through that. So I'll have to kind of hope and pray that works. I could put in another phone spot and that will work from there, but it's not good to have things in the wrong spot. So I was going to do that, and sometimes I just make up my mind and said, you know what, I don't need to go in, I don't need to buy anything, but I feel like going in and doing a few things, and I just might. I might go to that place anyway, look at some old vintage computer stuff and see what's going on. Again, some of the days get so kind of slow around here out in the country that, you know, I'm tired of lawn mowing and cleaning and clearing out stuff. It's just good to get out, you know, a couple times, 3 times a week, regardless if I have, you know, crazy amount of business or not. You know, I just need to see people. That's why I like to go out and do things. If you're out in the middle of nowhere all by your lonesome, it's good to see people. So anyway, that's all I have here. I'm not trying to, you know, jump off the walls like a Dylan or a John or a Caesar or a, you know, I got called out for that too. That's why I'm kind of toned down at times, because people said, you're crazy, you're jumping off the walls, what'd you have for breakfast today? You know, and now I try to tone it down and said, come on, have a better breakfast. It just, you can't win. You can't win any arguments these days. You know, everybody's got to be on the top or correct. And even if they agree with you, they still have to end the conversation on the top end of it. You know, it's really not fair for people to have to try to compete with. That's why I go to different post offices and different other businesses that are farther away, because then I don't have to deal with people that try to best you in the argument, try to, you know, trick you into saying something weird or get you to do something, you know, and I just don't, I hate having to be the winner of an argument, you know, and that's not the way I want to be. Basically, I want people to feel like they left on a high note, but I'm the first one to tell them that they're wrong and explain why, and they said and then they walk off and say you're no fun, you know. So what can I do? That's why I have basically stopped, making a lot of YouTube videos that explain what I'm doing, because it doesn't work for everybody. People sell the swap meet and have an excellent time, and I didn't. And somebody said, well, you probably did something wrong. And my only thing that was wrong is I was like a fraction of the cost of everybody else. So those people probably sucked even worse than I did, and I hope they did, because I don't want somebody to sell something for $25 and mine was $2.50. So that $2.50. End of video. No besting anybody. I try to keep on an even keel, and thank you for watching.